It's Dom.P. Enlightenment ENT, man. 716. Jewels to the game. I know I'm great, that's what I'm destined to be.
Alright, this is an episode again with Strong United Voices. This your boy D.
It's your boy D now.
And Miss Lovely. And today we have a very special guest, something totally different, y'all, something totally different. We have our guest here, the elect female India Walton. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And before we go any further, we always give a shout out to our sponsor, Be Great Clothing, and also to the Drink Champs. And this we want to show you on this particular episode is something we'll be doing going throughout the year. We'll be walking with her through her journey. Why don't you give us a little background on your bio that you sent and where you come from? Because I see you come from the belt. So let's just get into that, and then we'll get into what you're looking to do for the city of Buffalo.
Sure. So, as you said, my name is India Walton. I was born and raised right here in Buffalo. I am the homegrown people's champion. I call myself the unofficial mayor.
Okay.
But, early days, I grew up down the way, William and Jefferson, Woodland Park area.
Oh, okay.
My uncle actually lived in the Fruit Belt, so we spent a lot of time over there on Mulberry Street.
Oh, my mom and them were born and raised there. Okay.
You know what? The Fruit Belt has 3 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
I've been in D.C. and somebody said, "Oh, you from the Fruit Belt?" And you're like, my cousin's
Everybody tell you.
Right.
It's like Fruit Belt is a town of its own, right?
Right.
But I moved there in 2015, 2016, and there were just a lot of issues that were happening in the neighborhood because of the expansion of the medical campus and the amount of people who were coming in.
Right.
So I started to get involved with the community. We worked on parking legislation. And there were all these vacant lots, and we were trying to figure out how we could use those city-owned lots to negotiate with the medical campus to try and get some benefits for the community. So we, with some partner organizations, did some research, and we founded the first community-run land trust in the city of Buffalo.
Okay.
So that's really sort of been like my professional and personal trajectory. I started off as a nurse.
Right, because I got that down here. So you're RN?
Yep, I'm an RN. Then I was an organizer. I did criminal justice and police reform.
Okay.
Then my last gig it wasn't a gig, it was an incredible journey, but was the executive director of the Fruit Belt Community Land Trust. So I was responsible for all the day-to-day operations, plus planning affordable housing units for.
And I see that's like your number one priority for that affordable. So when you're getting into that, are you looking for everybody in general, or like for the senior citizens? Because I know they was trying to get everybody out that Fruit Belt to take the whole Fruit Belt over for that medical stuff. I don't know if they was planning on putting like lofts down there for the doctors. That's a rumor I heard.
A lot of was attempting to be developed around there is what's called workforce housing.
Okay.
And if people want to talk more about the rules surrounding it, but basically when we talk about affordable housing in general, there's these HUD standards, right? So like affordable, people think of it as low to moderate income households, but my definition of affordable housing means that no person is spending more than 30% of their household income on housing, and that includes utilities, right?
Okay.
Even if you find an affordable place.
Yeah.
A lot of our houses are old, drafty.
Right.
People got $200 and $300 gas bills over the winter, right? So we have to make sure that the houses are environmentally sustainable.
Yeah,
right.
Because it's a lot of Arabs buying up the property, and they rent them out as is, and basically charging a lot of rent for them, and they not in health codes.
Right.
So that's a very good point that you're doing too, as far as that.
Yeah. So I mean, affordable housing is not only for poor people, right? Like, I think there's a whole demographic of folks who are just barely making it, and I lived so many years of my life in that sort of gray area where you don't qualify for any assistance,
right?
But one too many sick calls, your car break down or something,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Sure.
screwed, right?
Mhm.
Because you putting out so much just to stay afloat.
Right.
And I think that in order to encourage mixed income neighborhoods, right, and there's this trap of poverty that we stick people in, because if you make $25 over what that limit is, now you're losing your Section 8, you're losing your heat. So rather than having it be that way, we'll just make sure that housing is affordable across the board. So now you're not prevented from getting that better job, working full time as opposed to part time, because you don't have to worry about losing out
Right.
on your housing,
Right.
because now you're starting to be self sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
most people live check to check, and I hate it. You know, they say like 80%. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's a large percent. You know, live check to check. Like you said, miss 1 or 2 days, and I can't even pay my rent or something.
Right.
You know, so,
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
No.
Well, I wanted to ask, like, have you been a mentor to anyone before?
So yeah, in different ways at different points in my life. The first people I mentor are my children.
Okay.
I had my first son when I was 14 years old, and in a lot of ways he mentored me. We grew up together.
That's me. My son. I have 15. So
a lot of it starts at home. I have younger siblings, so I do a lot of just like spreading knowledge to them. But in the community, I've acted as a mentor for leadership development programs. And when there are young people who want to do something and they reach out and they're like, I see you doing this and that, like, how do I do it?
Right.
If I don't have it in me,
Right.
or I don't have the time, I at least try and connect them with someone who I know is in the same field or doing the same information. I think like that's one of the keys to success in our community is like reaching back, you know what I'm saying? Like lift as you climb. It's
That's
not good
right.
enough for you to be successful.
Right.
If you haven't brought anybody along with you, then you're not doing it right.
Right.
Come on now,
You
say it
gotta
right.
teach 'em. That's
Say
how
it
it's
right.
supposed to be. You're absolutely right.
So I see on here also too, you working to get marijuana.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it works. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna sit here in front. It works. So I mean, how is that process working? Because it's legal everywhere else. I don't understand. Like, why New York State always the last to get on board?
We tout this progressive New Yorkers thing,
Yeah.
and it's just not true, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing that's most important in New York State is not necessarily black or white, and this is what I try and explain to people, right? Like we do have additional challenges being people of color. However, what we are in is a class struggle. Green is what really rules, right? And until they can figure out how to make sure that legalizing marijuana further enriches the wealthy and continues to leave out the people who suffer, that's what the holdup is.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Our Assembly Majority Leader, Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who sponsored the legislation in the Assembly, has a racial equity lens built into it, right?
Okay.
A framework where black people, poor communities, the people who have borne the brunt of marijuana prohibition get to benefit from it. And that's what the holdup is, because the state wants it dumped in the general fund. They're trying to pick off pieces to figure out how they further finance law enforcement and things that have already been detrimental and damaging to our community. Right? So our majority leader was like, absolutely not. This money is being reinvested back in our community to improve the conditions of the communities that you have decimated with your failed war on drugs. So
Absolutely.
I stand by her 100%.
And I stand with it too. I stand with it too. Now that somebody broke it down for us, you know what I mean? That's what it's about right here today. You got something?
See, I mean, with you understanding a lot and through your experience, could you like tell us how you feel how powerful the black dollar is in the neighborhood?
It's more powerful than we know, right? And I'm very proud of the Black Buffalo community because we do this 365 days a year. You know what I'm saying? I just received my copy of that brown bag. My friend Chantel has a directory of black businesses in the community, and this is just the way we live, right? We patronize businesses. You can't find a black person in the city of Buffalo that don't own the I'm Living Bee hoodie, right? Like we know where all the black restaurants are, and we share that information. I think that what we need to focus on is not only scaling up, right, and putting our money in places where we get a return on our investment. So it's not just we buying a t-shirt or something we gonna eat, but we are buying things that generate money back,
Right.
and also like get back to our roots, to collective and cooperative economics, right? If I'm rich but my neighbor is poor, we have a problem, right? So many of our businesses are sole proprietorships. It's a family business where the only person that works there is the father, son, and daughter. We need to find ways that we can extend that and employ other members of the community. So
Sunny family business.
yeah.
Okay. And so how long you been into the politics? Are you just getting into this? I know you was doing other things, but how long you really been involved?
I'm a middle child. I'm one of 6. So I think I've probably been in politics all my life.
Oh shoot! All right, okay, all right.
There's always been something to negotiate.
Okay.
Like I don't think it's my day for dishes. I think I did dishes today.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
Yeah.
Got to talk about this.
Where the chart at? Where the chart?
But I think I really got serious about my personal political career maybe about 5 years ago, and being a nurse and working in the schools and seeing, we love to place the blame on somebody, right? So on the one hand, you have the teachers saying it's the fault of the parents saying it's the fault of the teachers, and what I'm seeing as the nurse is my babies are coming to me, and they tired, they hungry. I had children who were chronically late and absent, and the social worker want to call CPS, but I'm like, let me call the mom first, see what's going on, right? So you have some children who they late every day because their mom don't get home till 7 o'clock in the morning. She works nights,
right?
So they can't make the bus. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to get to the root causes of a lot of these issues. A hungry child is not gonna learn. A tired child is not gonna learn, and then we bring them to school, and the breakfast is a Pop-Tart,
right?
And you wonder why they bouncing off the wall, right? Like we have so much work to do, and that's the reason why my platform is so broad. Is because we have to address food insecurity, housing insecurity. We have to address our built environment. Why don't we have green space on the east side? Why don't we have nice parks? We got one. MLK is beautiful.
Come on now,
right? But there should be safe places for people to get out and exercise everywhere we go, right? Listen, I told you I can go on all night.
No, listen, because you know what? It's the sad. I don't have to say nothing because honey, you targeting them punchlines. Like you didn't read my paper. I'm saying, well, wait a minute, I ain't even asked you this, but go ahead. I'm gonna just go ahead and write down.
But you know, it comes from living this life. Like I said, I'm from Buffalo, right? So you know, now I roll with slow roll people, and I know that's a trigger for some folks. But the reason why I like slow roll is because I found out that like, bikes are for everybody, right? Like we have gotten into this mode where when we see public art, when we see bike lanes, when we see coffee shops, we're like, oh, gentrification. Right. But the thing about it is that we deserve nice things too.
Absolutely. On the east side.
On the east side, right? So like we know that those are symbolic of the demographics changing, and we have to, first of all, let them know that this is ours. And if you're going to be here, you got to get with the program. Right. You can't be calling the cops on us because we got a block party.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the one thing.
Like,
in order to make friends, you got to make yourself friendly.
Right.
But the other thing is that we can stop settling for less. You know what I'm saying? The problem that we have in Buffalo really is that wages haven't kept up with the rate of inflation. Right? So while we have people saying, well, rents are still really affordable, not if you ain't got a raise in 5 years. Right.
You still getting the same pay rate.
Exactly. So we have to really work on our economic development strategies to make sure that we are taking people from, you know, like I said, the
nice. These are laws you're trying to get as being mayor. Should I say that's what you're trying to put?
That is what I am trying to put in.
That's what I'm talking
Working
about.
with people, and because I have this national network of these new economy people who are just thinking differently, right? About worker-owned cooperatives, about land trusts, about permanently affordable housing, about alternative ways to get people to home ownership where they don't have to depend on traditional financing because you've seen the red line maps, right? You know there are whole swaths of the city that banks traditionally said we're not lending over there because it's not worth our while. And they say they're not doing it, but if you look at the map, it's still the same thing.
Format that they're doing with everybody else.
And we know that when people own where they live, they treat it differently. If you want crime to go down, You give people a sense of place where they belong. You don't send in cops from West Seneca to police people. You have their neighbors serve them and protect them.
Gotcha.
Right? It's very basic things. Right? All we have to do is go back to what we know. And, you know, stop trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
But it all comes back to the enclosure of wealth. Right? We want the people who are rich, well, not we, they want the people who are rich and powerful to remain rich and powerful. And what I want, and the people who support me want, is to draw down that power back into the hands of the people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Oh, come on now. This is good business, y'all. Hope y'all tuned in right here now. Elect mayor right here, y'all. Pay attention. I know we might don't sound too close or whatever. I'm still working on that. Something was supposed to have been delivered. It didn't, so hopefully I'll have it by the next podcast.
Soon.
But we'll make sure we know this. So we want y'all to pay attention and tune in to the YouTube so you can hear this very clearly. Now, my concern here, and I don't know how far you watch the podcasts, and you probably can see our growth from when we started to now. But it started when the George Floyd situation happened here, and the shootings from June to August was unreal. Unbelievable. I don't know where our mayor was at. I don't know what TV he was watching, but that was like at the time, if I'm not mistaken, it had to be 78 shootings or 84 shootings at the time, and like 30-something deaths in the East Side, and he didn't respond well. I didn't like it, and it's not for you to comment. I'm just telling you as a person of the community, the crime. Why is these damn cameras out here and they don't got a murderer? This stuff going down in broad daylight, because it used to be a cold. You get killed at late at night, at midnight, and people get killed at 10 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock while people going to school. Where is the cameras? I know they work because, you know, my niece murderer got caught, thank God. That was on camera off of Stevens. But do they all work? Because I'm confused. These people are driving by, and these people are walking up on you. Why is there's no homicides been solved?
I'm very sorry to hear about your niece, and I'm not sure whether all of the cameras are functional or not.
Okay.
What I do know is that we have a very deep dysfunction within our police department, and most crimes go unsolved. I think that the number one way we reduce crime is to prevent it in the first place, and that doesn't happen by over-policing, right? We have more police on the force than ever before in the history of the city, and crime is worse than ever. I think that what we do in order to reduce crime is that we give our young people something to live for, right? They are killing each other because they're fighting for scraps
and social media,
and we live in an abundant place. And like you hinted at earlier, we need more mentorship, more community centers open, more hours, get these children off the streets. When we are in this rat race, right? Think about our parents out here working 2-3 jobs to make ends meet. The children go unsupervised. And how many of our teenagers, young kids, are providers for their household because people are in such dire straits? Those are the things that when you begin to fix that, you start to see a real reduction in crime. And the other thing is,
come on now,
talk about it.
if our officers are actually members of our community and not just coming in to do a job, right? When I lived in the Fruit Belt, people would always be like, ain't you scared? No, I'm not scared. You know why? Because those people over there, those children, those kids, they know me. I lay on my couch with my door wide open and ain't nobody gonna mess with me. You know why? Because they know who I am and they respect me, right? So they might be out there on the corner cussing and doing whatever, but when I walk down the street, everybody straighten up. How you doing, Miss India? Right? So when you have a mutual respect and adoration for the elders and the service people in your neighborhood, you behave differently.
Absolutely.
Right? We need more of that. We can't have our aunties scared in their house with the doors locked.
Right.
We need that porch patrol back out there.
Right.
And we need our mothers to stop saying, don't talk to my baby like that. No. Talk to my baby like that. If you see my child out here doing something wrong, check them. And then call me, and we're going to both check them together so that they know that this is unacceptable. Right? And we need our OGs, right, who used to keep the block in order back in the day. When I was coming up, it was the corner boys who were sending kids to college, right? I'm not saying that's the right lifestyle.
Yeah, but that's what it was.
But acknowledge that there are certain people who've been locked out of the above board economy who take it underground because that's how they make ends meet. But they were responsible. They would take care of their families, their mamas. They was doing toy giveaways, and there's still a few people who do that. But what they were also doing was keeping the young bucks in check. These are the rules of engagement. You're not doing this and that, right? We have to get back to us. That's what's going.
And that's going to take a lot of work because it's been so far gone so long with the don't put your hands on my kids, don't do this, don't tell. Who is you to tell? And you got the kids lying because they know they was doing wrong, but they know their mother will go to 100 real quick, and you know, so you know, it definitely, you know, what you're saying, it take a village to raise, you know, a child, but at the same time, getting back to those cameras, because that's my big concern. The taxpayer paid for those cameras. So it's just that you got crime going on. You're going to mess with a boy on a corner selling a couple bags of weed, but what about that murderer that been walking around here for about 2 or 3 weeks and still walking? They got things confused here.
It's such a waste of resources.
Yeah. Okay. So what about, now we were speaking on the community centers and stuff like that. We have a lot of them available, but they all kind of seem like they're vacant, or you know, people just don't want to go, or they don't have the people to put in there to mentor. Is that what they're lacking?
Funded. They're not adequately funded.
Okay.
That's what the problem is,
Okay.
right? And you know, we have a team of folks who are going through the current budget line by line, trying to figure out like
Why?
where's the money going, right? And we are a cash-strapped city. A part of that is because we don't have a tax base, right? Because it's a whole bunch of renters, and then you bring big developers in to rent out apartments, and they get tax breaks because we just want to, you know, encourage development, whatever that is. So we have to get people in the position to be able to contribute.
Okay.
Right, so we need to make people into homeowners, make sure people have good enough jobs to be able to contribute, and, you know, the city is one of the largest employers, and then we pay people with our tax dollars, and they take it and drive it right down to 90, right over the Skyway, spend their money in the suburbs, send their kids to West End and Orchard Park schools, right? So, you know, we're exploring, like, how do you recapture that? How do you incentivize people to actually live in the community that they serve? And if they don't, I mean, if you want to live in West End, that's your prerogative, but you don't pay a tax. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way a city can survive on subsidies alone. We shouldn't be in a position where we're like, oh, well, they're going to have to borrow money unless the federal government come through and rescue us. We need to generate revenue in ways other than ticketing people and fines and fees.
Finding things that just get them in court for a bag of weed and all that foolishness.
So besides the things that you did name, what do you feel like that's like missing? Like, what do you feel like I can come in here and execute and get this done? This is the problems that I feel like I could fix.
I think the number one thing is just being able to work in coalition, knowing that being a leader doesn't mean you have all the answers. Being a leader means that you listen to the people with the problems, because those are the people who have the solutions, right? And we figure out how we do it together, right? There are limitations to city government. There are limitations to the mayor's office, right? So if you come to me with something, I can be honest and say, you know what, I don't have the answer, but let's do some research and figure it out, right? Maybe this is not an executive function. Maybe we need to take it to the Common Council, right, and have some legislation passed. Maybe it's a thing where we need an ordinance, but at least you have that level of transparency and accountability and an answer, and to know that someone is actively working on it, and not just ignoring what your issues are, and just, you know, saying stuff like, oh, well, they're just outside agitating.
Making excuses.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that you can do.
Now, another question that I have, and maybe you can shed some light on for us, because at a time when we had the podcast in the beginning with 4 of us, we was having discussions on like why. Let me see, how can I put this? For a mayor, what power do they have? Because from what we've seen with mayor that's in place now, like, you don't have none. Everything he has an excuse of, we got to go here. Like, well, to my understanding now, y'all don't have no control over the police union. Y'all don't make those decisions on, because Lakeisha Bottoms in Atlanta firing cops left and right. So why don't New York State have that authority? Maybe I should put it that way.
So there, we have allowed the police union to run amok. The police union is very powerful. I'll say that.
Okay.
However, the commissioner
Mhm.
is over the police department.
Okay.
He's over the chiefs. The chiefs are over the patrol officers. But who's over the commissioner?
That's what I want
The
to know.
mayor.
Oh.
Right. So the
Okay.
commissioner of police reports directly to the mayor.
Oh.
So
And
there are some
Right.
limitations,
Mhm.
right, because of the collective bargaining agreement.
Mhm.
But that's why it's a bargaining agreement. You negotiate your powers, right? Just like you negotiate your salaries, disciplinary structures are negotiated in contracts. And I know that from my time as a nurse when I was a member of 1199 SEIU, right?
So you tuned in. Whatever.
There's always a way,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that what I bring to the table more than anything is like, you'll never see me just throw my hands and be like, well, there's nothing. There's always something
I'm gonna get
that
done.
we can do.
Right.
Right? You just have to do the work
Right.
and find the people to help you figure out. We got people all over the country, like you
Right.
said.
Right.
Mayor Bottoms down in
Man,
Atlanta,
man,
making it happen.
Man.
So why,
Yes, she is.
you're the leader of the second largest city
Mhm.
in New York State.
Mhm.
So even though something may not be in your purview or jurisdiction, you still have influence to get it done.
Right. That's what I thought. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why would somebody want to take that position if you can't run your city. If I can't run my city, why take the position? So, yeah, Mayor Brown. So I also noticed that from your response of you saying, because you didn't disrespect him, you were just basically saying that he did what he could. And he said basically that he's focused on collaborating with the federal, state, and local partners to protect the health of the residents. He didn't comment on what you're saying and what you're doing. So that was kind of weird to me. You worry about the pandemic. What? Because I ain't seen him. I haven't seen this man like come out and talk about nothing. So that's weird. Like, he vanished after all the heat was going on with the police and everything. So I just don't like the way he's doing things. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about a school, a particular school when you get in office, because we claiming that when you get in office, that school alternative down on South Park. Have you heard anything about that school? Cause
it's the one where the police cars.
Oh yeah, they get it in down there. They get busy. Like, that school remind me of Lean on Me. I'm not exaggerating, dude. I am not exaggerating. I went there because my niece got sent there from a charter school because she fought. They sent my niece down here to that damn school. And when I say animals, and I'm not talking about the kids, they run in that joint like that. And you might as well say get the chains on the door.
Yeah.
They go fight on the whole other side of the school. The teachers have no control, none. So I hope you look into. They need to be under investigation or shut down one.
I definitely, would. I depend on having more robust relationships with the other departments, right? Like, so the Board of Education is over that. The mayor really doesn't have much power as to how they operate. Okay. But like I said, influence, right? Like, you're the most important person in the city. So have a meeting with the Board of Ed and find out what's going on there, right? Like, what are some alternatives to the alternative? And I'll tell you, like, when you treat people terrible, they tend to act more terrible, right? Like, you have to treat people with respect and care, right? And if we approach things from a trauma-informed perspective, not why did you do that, what happened to you that is causing these behaviors, because a lot of our children are dealing with generational traumas. I worked in a grammar school, a pre-K through 8, and those babies were coming in there Their family members were gunned down in the street.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
moms and dads were being
Drugs,
beat on drugs. They're hungry. They're cold. They have housing insecurity.
Right.
They sleep in 4 and 5 families to one apartment.
Right.
That causes people to act in a certain type of way. Right. So again, we get back to the root causes. Everything doesn't have to be punitive. Sometimes, if you seek to understand, you can find a better solution. I'm sorry, it doesn't come with punishment and more police, and it doesn't come that way.
Well, my punishment, I feel with them people, it got to be the school itself, because just because you in alternative don't mean you don't have to still put these kids through goals, because some have just been in there because of a fight. Charter schools just have low tolerance for any kind of incidents, and that's where you have to go and so forth. Some that's there look like they belong there, but as you say, you don't know what's going on in that household, why they acting out like that, and the teachers don't give a damn.
And
they just don't care.
Again,
you know,
because they come here for their job. Not all of them.
Yeah,
I know some.
Good,
I know some stellar teachers, right? But some of them, they come here for their job. They make their paycheck. They go home to their quiet place in the suburbs. They don't know what these children are going through, and they don't really care to know. Right. And the other thing is, like, we need to educate our parents and let them know that you can say no. Just because they drag you downtown and tell you that your baby has to go to alternative, no, they don't.
Now see that.
I've been there.
Okay.
My son was formal. He's a special education student.
Okay.
He got into it with another student in the school at Hush Tech.
Right.
And they said, well, he gonna be formal, and until we can have a hearing go back, he gotta go to alternative.
That's what they did with my niece.
I said, no, he don't. He's not going there.
So where did he go?
He stayed home. And they sent
when
him
they
work.
threatened my niece's mother that they was going to take her to put my niece in detention if she didn't appear at that alternative school.
Send them. You cannot make. Listen,
girl, I wish I'd have knew you a long time ago.
You are your child's first and biggest educator and advocate, right? Homeschooling is a real thing. Okay. So what we're doing right now is virtual learning. It's not the same as homeschooling. Right. There's a process you have to go through. Okay. But anytime I was dissatisfied with what's happening in BPS, I'll educate my children at home. You write a letter, get it notarized, send it certified mail. They ask you what curriculum you're using, ABC Mouse, Kumon, whatever one of them online things is. Right. And I will keep my babies home and teach them arithmetic and reading myself before I send them into the mouth of the beast.
Thank you.
And everyone has the right to do that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. That was good information.
I mean, the career that you definitely headed for, I feel like you're definitely strong enough for that.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, for sure. Like,
powerful.
I wanted to ask too, far as what's the key to forming a good team? Because you definitely.
Went through hell, didn't you?
Still going through. So I'm gonna say this: you have to use what you got to the best of your ability until you can
or people start falling in line.
Right,
basically.
Right. So a lot of people are afraid. Right. Think about how many people you know whose job is somehow tied to the city. Not only people who work for the city, but people who work for other organizations that might get city funding, right? Think of like bars and restaurants, event spaces, right? We're in COVID right now, so we're not gathering, but we were looking for a space to have the virtual launch so that I wouldn't be in my living room.
Right.
No. We got about 20 no's before we got a yes.
Wow.
And I get it. I understand. When your livelihood is attached to something,
they don't want their name on it because
they don't want their name on it.
Yeah.
And there are definitely people who are like, I'll support you privately, but I can't have my name attached because it puts them at risk.
Well, what though? If you own your business, it's yours.
I mean, people don't like to make enemies with the current administration. It's not a good thing, right?
Well, I feel like people like that, they tied in somewhere along the line, or somebody that did some favors. That's another thing I can't wait till you get in there, because I hope you cleaning the city hall out and a bunch of little foolishness that's going on out here. People getting awards for, complaining about garbage, and I can complain about it too. Shit, you know what I mean? Like it's everywhere. You know what I mean? And they get these certificates and get to do this, to do that. So that's just me observing things out here that I'm knowing you got to be somewhere tied in.
Yeah.
To be so getting acknowledged like that, you know what I'm saying? Like we all can do that, but we ain't getting acknowledged.
And
you know
it's
what I
nice
mean?
to be acknowledged, but to me,
In a
it's more
good way,
important to
then.
do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like I get my acknowledgement from an elderly person I
Yeah.
may have served early in the pandemic who
Right.
gives me a random call like, "Hey, I was just calling to see how you was doing because I appreciate you."
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't need an India
Yeah.
day
Right.
to feel appreciated.
Right.
And like I say all the time, the work speaks for itself. I'm trying to be brag a little bit more so
Yeah.
people know that I didn't just fall out the
Right.
sky. I've been
But
around.
you gotta
a long
make
time.
noise. You gotta make noise and let them know who you are. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
So, the potholes. Okay. Is the mayor responsible for that? Because I mean, I'm giving some things out too. You know, I have to call my mom. You know what you call your mom? Ask her is the pothole. And it is a big concern because I mean it's all through the city. It's tearing your car. Like I don't know how much work I done got done on my car. You know what I mean? It don't pay to go get nothing all nice and where you gonna drive it to? Unless you go to Canal Side. Now Canal Side is beautiful. I mean, and the more and more you keep getting down there, I said, damn, I wrote down, I said, when they put this, like, but we get to Genesee and it's saying, damn, the sky go dark. So, the potholes, is that something the mayor in control of? Because somebody told me, like, you got to write to the state. He don't have no control over that with the potholes. And so I'm just, trying to know what kind you got to.
So, the Department of Public Works is who fixes potholes and stuff, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
The commissioner reports directly.
You said
to
the
mayor.
public.
Yeah, DPW, Department of Public Works.
Okay,
Yeah. So the commissioner of the Department of Public Works reports up to the mayor and also will report to the Common Council, right?
Mm-hmm.
The funding for streets and infrastructure in general comes from the federal government or the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we go back to the 2020 census, right, a lot of what was trying to be conveyed was in order to bring these resources in, we have to have an accurate count.
Oh, right. Oh, that's why
Right.
he was stressing to get them filled out.
Right.
Okay.
But when people are distrusting of you,
Yeah.
even when you're telling the truth, they tend to not.
Don't believe it.
listen,
Right. Yeah. So
Right.
damn if you do, damn if you don't.
But a lot of it is also about priorities,
Right,
Like
right.
you drive down Delaware, like you said, Canal Side,
Right.
and the streets are fine.
Right.
So why is Genesee Street in the condition that it's in?
Yeah.
Right? It's because our priorities put other neighborhoods and people first.
Right. Because Bailey been the same way, Jefferson been the same. I mean, as I'm a kid, I'm sitting there saying, like, you still go through that hump when you go. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then to go see somewhere, I guess they did Kensington. I guess, you get somewhere, but just still, certain areas is just stuff been like that for too long. And you saying you're not to blame. Like, if you ride in the city, you riding them too. So your car ain't tore up.
And there are new technologies out. I'm really interested in just exploring how we streamline and do things more efficiently, right? A lot of, even 5 years ago, even when I was just a little kid, I'm like, it's got to be a better way to do this. You know what I mean? Like the way our streets are plowed, the way our trash is, like a lot of it is just like, are we using the technology that's at our disposal in the most effective way to make sure things are being done as inexpensively and as quickly as possible? There's a lot of waste in government, period. So like, how do you begin to eliminate the waste and make sure that resources are being used to the best that we can?
Well, all I can say is I hope you get in there and we on it. And I don't really have nothing against Mayor Brown personally because I don't know him personally. It's just your response in this last year to me. It might have been going on for a minute, but I focused in on him really this year. And I was like, wow, like, dude, you just don't care.
I mean, I think that leadership has to stay connected to the people you're leading. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to a certain level of elite, you become detached. Like they don't like some of those people down there don't have a clue what we are going through. Like even in the midst of a global pandemic, right? Folks are losing income, losing jobs. The kids are being educated at home. People are stressed out, desperate, destitute. Like we're not even getting like
we're not getting security like
or
him.
hope.
Yeah, because he's not. I just told you we ain't seen him. And when you did see him, you making threats, or I don't know. I ain't seen the man. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm missing him. I don't know. But we definitely need people engaging with us to let us know you with us. You know what I mean? You riding with us. We hear. You know, whatever you can do. But all this stuff with that police that really took a hold on me. With the you don't have no control. Like and I forgot that boy name. Suttles. Quentin Suttles. You know, you looking at the video, you watching what this cop doing and bunch this boy eye socket and shoulder dislocated for a traffic stop, and the people still got a job. They still got a job. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. Like so, and this is something they've been doing for years.
And being paid by the taxpayer.
Come on.
And eventually, if he's not already, Quentin gonna sue the city.
Yeah. I think he's in progress.
And the city is gonna have to pay that settlement, and it don't come out the police budget. It comes out the general fund.
Oh.
So now you're paying for a bad officer.
Right. Was it worth it?
You're gonna pay his pension.
Right.
And then also whatever money that could be being used to fix roads, fund community centers, all of that is going.
Well, they trying to find other charges to put on him now. That's do. They try to put more charges on him. I said, I hope he don't fold. I hope he just keep on fighting because that's what they try to do. You know, they still try to put something on you or bring up something in the past so you could be like, okay, never mind. I ain't gonna do nothing. And I just hope he keep fighting because I haven't heard nothing. It's been quiet, but of course because of the pandemic, I still hope he still keep fighting and don't let them trigger it off. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about too. That girl, I don't know if you can, but just your opinion on the riot on Bailey, what that girl ran through. I forgot that young lady's name. Damn. But she, drove through the.
I forgot her name, but
yeah.
And she said she.
And because they saying like she was trying to get out of the way of gunfire, and that's been quiet. So I don't know if that's something you could talk about.
I don't have a whole bunch of details about that. I was out there that day.
Yeah, me too. I was in Louis.
After the march, the organizer of the march said to everyone, "Please go home." There was prayer and said, "Please go home in peace."
Right.
Now, what I've noticed is that who are they called? ERT or the response team or whoever before they were disbanded, when they were at the protest, things escalated and got violent, right?
Oh.
Once they took the riot team or whatever you call them, once they stopped coming to the protest, there were no incidents.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
So when you have a bunch of people who are peacefully expressing themselves, expressing their outrage, and they're met with people in militarized gear, ready to tear gas and pepper spray and
get real.
People in defense.
But I was at the I was at the one downtown, right at the Fed's building, the federal building, and it was fun. I mean, but it was a lot of young kids. See, and that gave them that energy. Like this is their time. We can tear shit down. Like they can get that energy off, and. That one was fine for a minute until that person rolled through the crowd or whatever. I still don't know what happened with that because I was walking back up Delaware by that time. But I watched them and it was peaceful. But they was venting. They was able to get off the shit they want to say to cops without getting beat down. Them cops knew they couldn't move. So, they was in their face, you pig, and this. And I know that took a lot because I was watching some of them cops' faces, honey. You talking about red. You ain't. And I'm talking about white. Their faces was red, but they knew they couldn't do nothing because they were just venting. But I was kind of proud of them young people because I was like, they took their energy, they got it off, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you don't know these cops been bothering these black young men for a long time. you know, and so they was able to, you know, get that off. But my thing, when it is peaceful protesting, which is fine, but then you have your other little people coming there and agitate things. But it ain't always people coming from different places agitating, and that's the way the mayor was trying to make it, like, these people came from Rochester, and these people, and I'm looking like, no, it's people angry here. They don't have to come from Rochester to vent. Like, I don't get that.
There were some people who did come from other places.
Yeah.
But what, you know, one of the things that I really stressed was that the people who have been, you know, sort of in this movement for longer periods of time, we dropped the ball on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Myself included. Like, we should have been giving these young people more direction in order to help them harness that energy into something more productive. And, you know, also, I hope they don't get discouraged and go away. You know, for me and a lot of people that I work with, this didn't start this summer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was out there with Black Love Resisting Arrest. You know, when they killed Meech over on the west side.
Right.
When they shot Pito in the back in the parking lot over on
He got out the car, the west side.
Yeah, he was running. They shot him in the back, right? So like we had all this energy in the summer around it, but it's like this isn't something that's new to Buffalo. The police been killing us,
a long time.
right? They shot Neil Mack off of that roof because he allegedly stole sushi from Wegmans. He was on a roof
and killed him.
and they killed him, right? So our outrage has been bubbling up to a point where now we see it happening across the country and it boils over here. And the response we get is basically nothing, right? A lot of these reforms that are coming out of City Hall, the stuff that we proposed 2015, 2016, they had it. They laughed. I did a policing survey with a local organization where we asked people what the problem was, right? And we took the information to City Hall and it was like, Buffalo doesn't have a policing problem.
Back in 2015.
Back in 2015.
Wow.
Maybe it was 2016. I'm pretty sure it was 2016,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
But we could have been ahead of this.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Same thing.
Now 4 years later, it's out of control. Wow. Yeah, so I hope you get in there and do some cleaning because are you able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Maybe I'll get a job in there. Ticket department.
Well, I wanted to ask because you did mention wages and funding and things like that. What do you feel like that you know that we can do to be able to increase these jobs and you know help people be able to get some funds and things like that?
Yeah, I think the first thing we do is we stop incentivizing these huge corporations that already have enough money and put it back into small businesses, right? And help do things like build their capacity to be able to be successful entrepreneurs. I mean, how much money did we put into that Tesla factory? How many people you know work for Tesla?
Well, once he hit his quota, then he got rid of everybody before the pandemic.
I knew 3 people who worked at the factory, but they didn't work for Tesla. They worked for a temp agency.
Right.
That's
And then so they weren't making the same money as people who worked there. And then once the assignment was over, they let them go. And they don't have no recourse.
Right.
No benefits. No that's not a job.
Right.
So like I said, it's like there are resources. We just have to make better use of them.
Oh, one more thing too. The abandoned buildings is so many of them. Do the banks own them, or you know, especially when I look like going down Jefferson, you know, just looking at a bunch of abandoned buildings, and I'm looking like, you know, when I ride with my mom, of course, back in her time, she'd be like, this used to be this used to be that, and I'm saying, well, what happened to them? But I'm looking for a building, and I can't go buy a building, but you know, it's no way to go rent it out because I don't know who the owner is. It's been boarded up, and I can imagine what the inside looked like, and you know, that ain't been touched. Do you know how they're going to try to, you know, is the bank going to open these? I don't understand why they don't open them up and let people pay them rent. Like, why are they just sitting there?
It's a myriad of things, right? Some of them are owned by the city. Some of them are owned by private people who are just holding on to them, waiting for the values to go up so they can sell them at a profit. Some of them are like stuck in probate, where the person who owned it has passed on. They can't find the family, so it's just kind of sitting there. But like there are lots of ways to, you know, cure those. They call it title curing, right? To cure the title so that they can be put in the hands of people that can put them to productive use. I mean, there has to be the political will is what they call it, right? So the people in power have to want to do it or be forced to do it, right? But we ride past these buildings all the time, and because our minds are focused on other things, it's like I'm not about to go and look up to see who owns 557 Jefferson because right now it don't matter to me. I'm trying to get to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I had the honor of being able to be an executive director, and for like 2 years, all I did was look up who owned property in the fruit belt and figure out like how we could get it and put it into the land trust or rehab or do whatever to it. So like that's how I'm familiar with those processes. But there is a way. Okay. We just have to want to do it. Yeah.
Cause I'm looking for one that say, "Hey, give me $1, you can have it." I'm looking for something like
so
that.
There used to be a program in Buffalo, the homestead program. They didn't do it for commercial properties, but where you could, if there was a residential property that was owned by a city, you could buy it for $1, rehab and live in it, right?
Really?
Yeah, it used to be.
Oh.
They were supposed to be revamping it and it never came back. But that's something that I'm gonna do.
Gotcha.
I'm bringing back the homestead program.
Yeah. Cause that'll get people to be homeowners real fast. Yeah.
That's something that's affordable. But yeah, one question, like a piggyback. What made you want to say, okay, I want to be like mayor instead of being a part of a team, like somebody else campaign team or something like that, or doing something else?
I am part of a team.
Well, right,
I'm not doing this by myself.
Right, well, of course, right.
And when I get there, I'm still not doing it by myself. You know what I mean? You need other people around you. And I have a friend who said, like, the key to success is not ever being the smartest person in the room, right? And I don't claim to have all the answers, but what I'm really good at is like bringing people together, right? And because I have a background as a nurse, like I worked in a NICU, a neonatal intensive care unit, and a lot of the people I worked with, they didn't like me. But when there was a little tiny baby whose life was at risk, we worked together. And I view this in the same way. We have a community and our people are dying, right? Dying of diseases, of despair, of depression, of desperation. So when it comes down to that, I don't have a choice in who I work with. I have to work with everybody. Right. Even if you don't like my eyebrows. Right. What are we going to do to make sure that our community is as healthy and thriving as it can possibly be? And that's what the key is. I don't have any friends or enemies permanently. I have permanent issues. And I feel like a lot of people in this place have permanent issues. So let's focus on that. We don't have to like each other, but eventually we're gonna love each other because we're gonna have built something that we can all be proud of. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
It makes sense.
No, it definitely does. So, yeah, it definitely makes sense. Though.
Could you tell us a time that you like experienced dealing with, a difficult type person, and how did you handle it dealing with this field?
Girl, say it.
You said 5 years, so.
Girl, say it.
I have a million of them. I mean, when I worked at Children's Hospital, like there were people who didn't care for me because I've always been this way. I think like maybe I've become a little bit more confident over the years, but I've always been like strong and vocal and like spoke out against what I felt was unjust. So there was that, and then remember a few years ago there was a mother. It was on Father's Day. She was pushing the baby in a stroller down Moselle Street.
And on the sidewalk.
There was no sidewalk. She was in the street.
Oh, okay. I thought
they got hit by a car and the baby died.
Right.
Baby Nyree, right? And then the year before that, the baby got hit by a car on the 198. They immediately reduced the speed on the 198 to 35 miles an hour.
I'm sick of that shit too.
But baby Nyree got killed on Moselle Street, and we couldn't even get sidewalks.
So, okay, that's what was wrong. The sidewalk was broken up with footer in the street.
So it was a whole bunch of us who started going down and just interrupting common council meetings. At this point, and this is one of the ways I've learned how the processes work was because we didn't know who to talk to. We wanted to talk to the mayor, but of course
you ain't gonna get there.
We wasn't gonna get there. So we were just going and interrupting common council meetings. We didn't care what was on the agenda. We would just show up.
Somebody gotta talk, man.
We would just show up and be like, "Excuse me, y'all still haven't fixed those sidewalks on Moselle Street, right?" We got kicked out. We went and laid down on the steps of City Hall. Like, it's just when you see. I don't forgot what the question was even right now. But when there's a problem,
How you handle it? That's what
You
you're
just
saying.
you just go do it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And like I said, you don't have to like me, but
Damn, I wonder why
What's
I
happening?
didn't see you or no, nothing. Because at this time with the George Floyd happened, I wanted to get out there and do like a protest, right? And I'm looking like, what can I do? But I didn't have a team. I ain't had nobody to go down with me and speak out. And then I'm saying, well, damn, you on the butthole, how you gonna hear what everybody else is saying? Because that was my concern for other people to say, the people to talk. So that's where I came up from the podcast. That's why I wound up, going to the podcast, because I said, okay, well then I bring it up where people could come here and vent and talk about it, and we get it out, and the more we show it and the more the people see it, maybe we can get something done. That's how I thought I could do it on my end.
yeah.
And damn, if I would have knew you that back in June.
You know what? I didn't organize any protest. People, sometimes I would just show up because I knew it was happening,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be there.
Yeah,
People like because they used to seeing me out.
yeah.
Speaking truth to power.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But I know if I would have just had, I'm just looking at that, and I probably would have been back with you then on your team. You know what I'm saying? With you on as your team, because I just needed guidance.
Yeah.
I didn't have guidance that showed me how to do what I wanted to do. So this is where the podcast came up. So maybe this is my journey. So,
There's room for everyone.
Yeah.
There's room for everyone.
Yeah.
We need so many things, and that I tell the young people like. It's not hard to get involved, and whatever your thing is, there's room for you. If you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a skateboarder, a biker, a speaker, a thinker, there's room for. We need everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think I'm getting involved. Because I want to be part of that making change. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome. Well,
you want to be?
Everyone is welcome.
Yeah.
And even the people who aren't quite there yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Come see me in February.
Yeah.
Or March.
Right.
Or June.
Hey,
whenever you feel like coming
right.
along.
Right.
All are welcome.
Good.
I want to ask, do you feel like the protesting, do you feel like that worked?
Yes. And I say that because in November, Buffalo won the presidential election, not Erie County, right? Buffalo is a blue dot in a red county, and everybody knows it, right? And the largest growth in the voting block was the 18 to 29 demographic. Those were the same people that was out all summer, right? So those same people went out and they voted. And those same people are on my volunteer list right now, waiting for something to do. And I'm depending on those same people to come out and vote in June.
And that's
in the primary.
June 20th?
We don't have the date.
Oh, okay.
The Board of Election will come out with it sometime after the new year. But here's the thing, and this is very important.
Okay, say it.
Listen up.
Make sure you do it loud.
Buffalo is a Democratic city, right? We always go to Democrat. This election is going to be decided in the primary, which is in June. New York State is a closed primary state, which means you can only vote in the primary for the party in which you are registered. To vote in the Democratic primary, you must be a Democrat. You must be registered as a Democrat.
Let it be heard. Let it be heard.
So, if right now you're registered to vote and you are registered as an independent, you need to change your registration to Democrat by February 14th.
Oh, shoot. Valentine's Day.
So right now, if you want to vote for me in June, if you want to vote if you don't want to vote for me, if you want to vote in the primary period
For the Democrats,
you need to be a registered Democrat, or you can vote. You can be Working Families Party and vote in the Working Families Party primary, but they don't usually have Working Families Party primary, right? Yeah. So that's number one.
Okay.
Right. Register. You must be registered in the party that you want to vote in for the primary. Otherwise, you won't even have the person on your ballot.
Okay. So they won't be even allowed though to vote.
No.
Okay. So when do that get announced of the winner? It still comes a week later, or how does
Yeah,
that
it'll be. I mean, I feel like the primary, because it's a local election, it's not going to be like the presidential election.
okay.
It'll probably be the same night.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
But then you go on to the general election, which is going to be in November. But because we all Democrats anyway,
Right.
whoever wins the primary and makes the ballot is who
Right.
everybody's going to vote for.
Gotcha.
Right?
Right.
So the last primary election, the current mayor won with 13,998 votes.
Mm.
There are approximately 230,000 people in the city of Buffalo.
Let's go. Let's get it.
That's crazy.
Right?
Let's go.
So technically, all we need is 309,099. 13,999 votes, right? It would be great to have 15,000. It would be great to have, if I could get 25,000 people to vote for me in the primary, that would be making a real statement,
Right.
you know?
So at this time, what are you doing to get out? Are you having people go door to door? Are you putting, flyers in people's mailboxes? How are you campaigning?
So we're not going door to door right now because it's pandemic and it's winter. And in order to get on the ballot in the first place, we need to collect 2,000, we need to collect like 5,000 signatures, right? We need 2,000 ballot signatures in order to make the ballot. So come February, we'll be out knocking doors, getting signatures.
Okay.
Another important note.
Mhm.
To get your candidate on the ballot, you can only sign one petition. If it's 8 people running for mayor as Democrats, if you want one person on the ballot, you can only sign one petition. Whoever gets that signature first is the one who gets the signature. Anybody else's petition that you sign, it doesn't count.
Mm.
And know this, they acting like I'm not a threat right now, but the internal conversations, they know that I am. So every signature on our petitions is going to be challenged.
Okay.
So if you want to sign for me to make the ballot, save your signature. When the other candidate knocks on your door for your signature, say no thank you, I've already signed.
Okay. Well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna work up on our end, and we'll take one of your petitions here, and we can get it
I would
signed
love
for you.
that.
So we'll do that here because we got traffic coming through all the time, even if it's for Be Great Clothing or SUV Podcast. So whenever you get those to me, send them through email. I'll have it right here so I can start getting your signatures
And
for you.
to sign a petition, you must be a Democrat, must be a resident of the city of Buffalo.
Okay. So so you
Or
can't.
you could change it, she said, before February 14th. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So as long as you live in the city of Buffalo.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So we'll be on top of that for you. So when you get that for me, we'll do our. So let me ask you this. So you can't go out in South Buffalo and get signatures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's still the city of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. That's what you got our support in on
Love
that.
it.
On that. So again, StrongUnitedVoices@gmail.com. We are in support of India Walton. Soon when she hit these books, don't try to jump on board so late now. Jump on board now. She's telling you exclusive right here what her intentions are, what she's planning on doing.
Right.
What are you going to be doing a lot of for your, how you be out talking? Is that your campaign
Yeah,
still?
so
When you gonna start?
every Tuesday I'm live for Hot Take Tuesday
Oh,
on
I
our
did see
Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
Every Wednesday I go for a walk in a different neighborhood, talking to residents and business owners,
Okay.
really trying to just see what the concerns of community members are. We're gonna soon start having house parties. So if you want to invite a group of friends together, one of our team members will help you set up a Zoom.
Oh, I got that.
Help walk you through an activity. I'll come in, talk to the folks for a few minutes. So
Okay.
that's another way.
Okay.
You can always reach out, www.indiawalton.com.
Okay.
If you want to send us an email, learn information, sign up to volunteer, donate.
Okay.
No amount is too small.
Right. Do you have a funding page for that?
Yep, so right in the website, there's a button you just click.
Okay.
Donate, and it'll send you right to our Act Blue. We're actually rolling out a new campaign for the new year called Team 716.
Okay.
And we're looking for 100 people to donate $7.16.
Okay. 716.
Who doesn't have $7.16?
Come on, man.
Oh, I'm gonna give you mine today. So don't forget about me. Put it down in that paper, and I'm gonna give you mine today. So I can, because I might don't be tuned in on this neither. I got with the podcast and the ciphers that I do as well. So I'm definitely going to be, like I said, supporting all the way. And again, it's nothing personal. It's just I'm glad a woman is involved. It's like sometimes it take a woman to take power.
Sometimes
and get
it
shit
does.
done right. You know,
there have been 62 mayors of the city of Buffalo
Yeah.
since it was incorporated,
Yeah.
and
no females.
I will be the first.
Come on now,
Yeah,
first
talk
female
about
and
it.
black female
Talk
at that.
about
So
it.
yes.
I
So,
got one last question
Mhm.
here. I just want to know, as far as I know, the viewers want to know too. Also, so could you tell them why should they vote for you?
They should vote for me because I'm real, I'm resilient, and I'm ready. I was born and raised in Buffalo. You don't get much more Buffalo than me. I understand the challenges of everyday people. I'm still living it. I'm right here with you. The struggles you have are the struggles I have, and I want to solve those together so that we can all eat, so that we can all live well, so that we can all be healthy, and our children can live in a community that is thriving and where they can see themselves in their leadership and identify with the people who are making the decisions so that they know that there's a pathway for them too.
all right. Let's make it happen, y'all. Let's make it happen. So again, by February 14th, you must be turned over to a Democrat if you're not. And then June will come the voting day. So we're going to be out here grinding for it too. So, whatever way we got to do it, whatever way we got to get it done, and because we'll be still putting our SUV pods out there as well. So anything you need from us on our end, I told you, send it to me, and we'll broadcast. I'm on every Monday, every Wednesday, and sometimes Thursday. So anytime you need me, or even if you hit me, I'll go live. So it doesn't matter, whatever you need from us. We ain't Channel 7, but we on our way. Anybody got anything else to say?
Yeah, that's it.
No, good luck though.
All
definitely
right,
good
yes.
luck.
And we want to say to everybody, Happy New
Happy
Year.
New
Happy
Year.
New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Peace out.
Peace.
That was great.
I know I'm great, that's what I'm destined to be. They interview me, they got questions for me. They got questions for me. I keep it real, you learn this lesson from me. I've been through it, this a blessing to me. This a blessing to me. I know I'm great, that's what I'm destined to be. They interview me, they got questions for me. They got questions. I hustle. I'm trying to make a living.